The war between Israel and Hamas is still raging. But now, it's not just a foreign conflict. It's starting to affect life here in the United States. In the last 2 weeks, we've seen deadly violence break out at home. A shooting in Washington, D.C., and a firebomb attack in Boulder, Colorado. Both are being investigated as hate-fueled acts tied directly to the war overseas. So how did we get here? And what's really going on in this conflict? Let's break it down. No bias, no spin. Just the facts. To understand why this war is happening, we need to go back, way back, to 1948, when the State of Israel was created. That move displaced hundreds of thousands of Palestinians and triggered decades of hostility in the region. In 1967, Israel captured the Gaza Strip and the West Bank during the Six-Day War. Since then, control over these territories has been at the heart of the conflict. Palestinians want independence, a state of their own. But Israel, citing security concerns, has held control over much of the land, especially in the West Bank. Gaza, meanwhile, has been ruled by Hamas, a militant group that many countries classify as a terrorist organization. What we're seeing today is the latest and bloodiest chapter in this decades-long conflict. From Israel's point of view, this war is about survival. On October 7th, 2023, Hamas launched a massive surprise attack. Over 1,200 Israelis were killed, mostly civilians, and hundreds were taken hostage. Israel responded with full military force. They've bombed Gaza, launched a ground invasion, and pledged to dismantle Hamas entirely. Israeli officials argue they're defending their people, and that peace is impossible while Hamas holds power. They claim that any civilian casualties in Gaza are Hamas's fault for operating inside schools, hospitals, and densely packed neighborhoods. On the Palestinian side, the story sounds very different. For years, Gazans have lived under an Israeli-Egyptian blockade. They face constant airstrikes, electricity shortages, and unemployment rates over 40%. Many Palestinians see Hamas not just as a militant group, but as resistance fighters. They argue that decades of Israeli occupation, settlement expansion, and military control have left them with no other option. But not all Palestinians support Hamas. Civilians, many of whom weren't even born when this began, are now caught in the middle. As of today, tens of thousands have died in Gaza, including a huge number of women and children. Hospitals are overwhelmed, and basic supplies like food, fuel, and medicine are running out. The fighting hasn't stopped. Israeli forces continue to push deeper into Gaza, targeting what they say are Hamas strongholds. Hamas, in turn, still launches rocket attacks, though many are intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome defense system. The death toll keeps rising. International leaders are calling for a ceasefire. Some are even accusing both sides of war crimes. But on the ground, the violence shows no signs of slowing down. And now, it's starting to boil over here in America. On May 21st, in Washington, D.C., a man opened fire outside the Capitol Jewish Museum. The victims, an Israeli couple, both in their 20s, were shot to death. The suspect reportedly shouted, "Free Palestine," during his arrest. Federal authorities are investigating it as a hate-fueled act of terrorism. Just days later, in Boulder, Colorado, a vigil was being held in support of Israeli hostages. That's when another man, this time armed with Molotov cocktails and a homemade flamethrower, attacked the crowd. 12 people were injured, some of them elderly. One, an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor. Authorities arrested a man named Mohammed Solomon. He faces federal terrorism charges. The FBI says he had nearly 20 firebombs prepared and had planned the attack for days. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security have issued public warnings. They say that extremist violence tied to the Israel-Palestine war is a growing threat inside the United States, not just from one side, but from both. Jewish communities are reporting record numbers of bomb threats, attacks, and online hate. Muslim and Arab Americans are reporting similar patterns: vandalism, harassment, and physical violence. It's a dangerous moment, where a war halfway across the world is stoking real-world violence right here at home. So let's ask the hard question: who's doing more harm in the U.S.? Based on public reports and confirmed arrests, most of the physical attacks so far, like the ones in Boulder and D.C., have come from pro-Palestinian extremists targeting Jewish or Israeli individuals. That doesn't mean hate is only coming from one direction. There are serious concerns about backlash, including violence or discrimination against Muslims, Arabs, or anyone perceived to support Palestine. But as of now, law enforcement has confirmed more violent acts coming from individuals acting in support of Palestine than the reverse. That could change, but it's where things stand today. The Israel-Palestine conflict is more than just a war overseas. It's becoming a trigger for violence right here in the U.S. And as emotions rise, the danger grows, not just for people in Gaza or Tel Aviv, but in places like Boulder and Washington, D.C. This is Politics Daily, where we break down the world without the spin. If you found this video helpful, subscribe for more daily updates and stay informed.